The Nikon D5300 is a mid-level enthusiast DSLR that takes the place of the D5200. In lots of ways, it's like its predecessor, but in some really important ways, it breaks new ground. Hello again, I'm Larry Becker. Today I've got a camera with a feature set that's targeted at consumers, but one that delivers pro-quality images, and I don't say that lightly. The images that come from this camera are on par with the best images ever to come from an APS-C size Nikon sensor. I'm referring to this camera's big brother, the D7100. The images this camera can capture are every bit as good. To get better images, you have to move up to a full-frame sensor. That's because this camera has a 24.2 megapixel CMOS sensor and there's no optical low-pass filter. Now, with previous generations of image sensors, engineers minimized moire patterns using a filter that slightly blurred image information at the pixel level. These new Nikon sensors are such good quality that this filter has been removed. So that means even sharper images are possible. And Nikon backs up their new sensor with their latest EXPEED 4 image processor. As for autofocus points, Nikon has kept that at 39 phase detection points rather than bumping it to 51 like the D7100 has. The D5300 has a brand new processor and the burst rate is listed at 5 frames a second, or with 14-bit RAW turned on, Nikon says the frame rate is 4 frames a second, and I agree with both those specs. When it comes to the image buffer, my results were a little different from the Nikon spec sheet, so let me just tell you about my results when I was using a Class 10 SD card. When I was shooting 12-bit RAW, the buffer filled up and the frame rate dropped to about 1 or 2 frames a second after shooting 7 frames. With 14-bit RAW turned on, shooting slowed down at the 5-frame mark. Then, with large, high-quality JPEGs, I got 13 frames before it slowed down. And finally, with large, normal-quality JPEGs, I got something like 35 frames before the buffer filled up and slowed down a little bit. Everything I liked about the D5200 is either the same or better with the D5300. For example, the physical size is similar, but just a little smaller than the D5200. But the grip has improved and feels really good. The twist flip LCD screen is a little bigger and higher resolution at 3.2 inches with a display resolution over 1 million dots. When I was reviewing the D5200, I mentioned that I like the new layout of the info screen because it's more intuitive, showing you a representation of aperture. Well, the D5300 has that, or you can even convert it to a more traditional looking info display just by changing a menu setting. Nikon's new I button is on the D5300 and it gives you quick on-screen access to changing lots of important variables without a trip to the menus. The native high ISO range is a little higher than the D5200, even though the expanded ISO still tops out at 25,600. Low light performance is simply great and as good as you'll get from any competing APS-C size sensor. Along with great quality images, there are a couple of new features that people will love about this camera, and there are things you won't find on other current Nikon DSLRs. There's a built-in GPS antenna for geotagging your pictures. Now there's built-in Wi-Fi. Now, the reason Wi-Fi is great is because you can download Nikon's free iPhone or Android app and use it as a remote control to snap pictures. I have an iPhone and an iPad, and I tested that version of the software on my iPad. It was easy to set up and use, and I was taking remote control pictures in no time. I wish you could control camera settings from the remote or remotely start video recording, but all you're allowed to do with that app is touch the screen in order to focus and then snap pictures. And since most people have a smartphone, that kind of remote control shooting option is really great. Of course, since this camera is targeted at consumers, it has lots of automation and special effects, as well as the pro shooting modes. Pro modes are the normal programmed auto, shutter priority, aperture priority, and manual modes. And for consumers, there are lots of scene modes and special effects modes so that you can quickly set the camera to capture images in a specific way. The most popular scene modes are right on the mode dial, and others are available through menu navigation. There are also special effects options you can apply during image capture, or you can use Nikon's touch-up menu and make all kinds of adjustments to images you've already shot. Now, if you know me, you know I consider these kinds of things to be wow features that sell cameras, and they're fine to play with once or twice, but I don't really know anybody who regularly edits or processes images in camera. The video specs are great, and you can capture 1080p video at up to 60 frames a second. And people interested in pro quality video will further appreciate that you can use the built-in stereo microphone or the mic jack for external audio sources. And you can even adjust audio manually in menus. Just a few things I think could be better, and these are small things. I read manuals, and the manual is pretty skinny, but it doesn't even have an index to help you quickly find what you're looking for. My workaround for this was to download the PDF version of the manual and use the Find command to quickly get to what I needed. Another thing is Auto ISO may be pre-programmed into lots of the automated modes, but when I'm shooting in a pro mode and I want Auto ISO turned on, I have to go to Menus. It should be available with the I button like so many other adjustments are. Another thing that kind of surprised me is the default image quality is normal JPEG. You have to change a menu setting to get the best quality JPEG images from this camera. So, let me tell you a little bit about the kit lens that I used. It's an 18 to 140 millimeter f3.5 to 5.6 GED VR lens. And the quality of the images it captures, the vibration reduction, and the zoom range all come together to give new photographers some solid versatility in how they shoot and how far away they can be. This is a good all-around lens with a zoom range that's a 35 millimeter equivalent to having a 27 millimeter to 210 millimeter lens. It's mostly plastic, but it feels well built and it's responsive. So it's one of those lenses that'll help new photographers do a lot of different kinds of shooting. They'll be able to wait a little longer before growing their extra lens collection. Just one quick note here. The D5300 doesn't have a focus motor on board like some cameras do, so just be aware that some lenses you buy or some older lenses may not work with autofocus. Nikon sure seems to understand that there are consumers and enthusiasts out there who crave the best possible image quality from an APS-C size sensor in an affordable body. The D5300 has plenty of buttons and dials and menu controls to help novices take good shots and allow advanced users the kind of control that they need to craft their images. People can grow with this camera and get great output at every stage of the learning curve. For B&H and Kelby Training, I'm Larry Becker. Thanks for watching.
Whether you're a hobbyist or a professional, B&H has the answers to your questions. Experience a world of technology at our New York City Superstore. Connect with us online or give us a call. Our staff of experts is happy to help.
Scott Kelby here, and welcome to this quick tour of our online training. We have hundreds of online classes for you, covering everything from lighting to landscape photography. From portrait photography to sports, we have classes on wedding, automotive photography, shooting, food, fashion, travel, you name it. The most incredible part of this is the price. You get all of this for just $199 a year, or you can pay monthly for just $24.95. 24-hour a day, 7-day a week access from anywhere in the world. I invite you to join with us today and start learning right now.